Whoa.
Sorry. You actually want that taken down, don't you? There it goes. There.
I forgot that was up and it scared
Sorry.
me. Hey everybody, welcome back to HoloNet Marauders Live and the HoloNet Marauders podcast and the HoloNet Marauders shenanigans. We're joined here, as always, by Jamie, myself, Jack. No Matt today, but we're pleased to have our good friend Becca back, Becca Soka. I think
Yay.
you're probably the perfect guest for this
And we're pleased to have our
episode.
friend Jack back as well, because he's back this week. So hello.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Jack was here last week, right?
Oh, it was
2
here
weeks.
last week.
The
Oh,
last
2
time
weeks.
Becca was here, Jack was not
That's
here.
right.
So we're
That's
pleased
true.
to have him back.
I can't even remember anymore. Matt is not here
They got a
today.
Sky Guy and an Ahsoka, although I'm less
Exactly.
relevant
Sky
here.
Guy's
I like
in the back,
it. I
background.
was gonna say
of
my,
your-
my little Ahsoka's right. Oh, there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we
They're-
go.
They're
There we go.
lurking.
They're looking.
Matt is in the chat. I don't know if he'll be able to join us today, but we'll see. How's it going, Matt? Matt, I thought that was a clapping emoji, but apparently it was wash hands emoji. Wash your hands, Matt. Wash your hands. But Tales of the Jedi.
Right.
Yes.
I like this show crept up on us like out of nowhere. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys are probably pumped about it, but I was like, oh, so into Andor. And it's very weird they released a show while another show was going on. I feel like Lucasfilm doesn't usually do that. But it was a surprise to be sure, and a pleasant one. Whatever that Palpatine line is, I butchered it, I think.
It's good.
But yeah,
Well, yeah,
James.
You got there.
I,
Not a welcome one, but a welcome one.
Yeah,
Hey.
there it is.
I agree though. Tails really like snuck up on me, because I
Same.
feel like it's even funny that Tails even is a thing because it was that leak last year on the end of the year gift that people were getting that said Tales of the Jedi, and everyone was like, "What is this? What is this?" Until no one
Right.
even knew what it was. And then they just dropped the first short at Celebration casually.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't even know
Tales
what was
of-
happening.
yeah.
Right, yeah. Tales of the Jedi was like a Legends 90s thing, right, too?
Yeah, you know, when I heard the name Tales of the Jedi, I perked up because I read those comics. No, it's not about Kyle.
I know.
It's about this is about Exar
This is 90s Jack, though.
This is about 4,000 years before the birth of Luke Skywalker. So like I had a certain expectation hearing that name. I'm like, oh, are we finally gonna get some like, you know, old Star Wars, old Republic content? Not even High Republic, Old Republic.
Yeah.
But still pretty psyched with what we got. I gotta say, like taking
Oh,
the 6
yeah.
episodes for what they are. Holy crap. There's a lot of good stuff.
There was so much.
I know. I just got finished watching it. Jamie watched it this morning. I watched Andor this morning. We'll be covering Andor tomorrow night on HML. Back to back, Wednesday, Thursday night. Crazy. A lot going on.
Two
But I
big
just finished
streams.
watching it, and I'm still like, mind is swirling around. Like nothing. Well, something crazy did
Well-
happen, but not at like the end. It was like what, the third episode or so for the one with Dooku and Yaddle. We'll get to that one.
Oh, the fourth
that,
one, yeah.
that one blew my socks
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And also the Ahsoka and Rex walking into the room. But I'm getting ahead of myself, as I always do. Why do you think they named it Tales of the Jedi? Like, going off what Jack said, that was a Legends thing, and like it was a really popular thing
Oh,
in
yeah.
Legends. And it's interesting they took that name and used it for this.
Yeah. I don't know if it was intentional to like copy it. If
Right.
I mean, if it was, I don't understand why.
I think
yeah,
kinda-
there's really no need to connect the two.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
It's a-
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. I was just gonna like word things.
It's a great speaking of word things, it's a great phrase. I think that's probably
Yeah.
why they picked it. They were like, oh, this is a fun like title of a series, let's use it again. And then this
Yeah.
totally the way everything is, they just focused on obviously Dooku and Ahsoka, with the 3-ish episodes about each of them, and so they could totally just be like, all right, here's another 3 episodes about some other Jedi
Yeah.
eventually. So
'Cause
it
I
just
did expect
continued so
more.
easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing season 1 on there does give me hope. Like, could keep going.
There's so much they could do
I hope so. Yeah.
across all eras. Like, they could do some High Republic stuff, and people that don't read the books, they can show that off.
I would
they can,
love to see High Republic like this.
They could
Maybe
do
some Finn content that's not in Lego Star Wars.
yeah, they could do that.
Yes.
Luke and Ben Solo are in that temple. They could do that.
Oh, yeah.
They could do
Yeah.
like something during the dark times of like Jedi we don't know of. I know they kind of did that with Ahsoka in this, but
I mean, they could even
But
do
more,
like
yeah.
a little like mini like
they could do
Cal,
Cal
like,
and
arc.
Master Topal. Like,
Or even
Oh,
just
yeah.
Cal on his own and learning about the Force with Marin, and then we got like Grease flying around. Oh my, give me Grease, please.
or they could do an Old Republic thing. Like they could. I mean, I know that's
There's a lot.
there's a
there's
lot
a
there.
lot.
There's a lot
Yeah.
they
So
could do.
much.
Tales of
hopefully.
the Jedi. Keep it going.
It's a great term, and
Yeah.
hopefully they make good use of it in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hope so.
I think they will. But the first episode was about baby Ahsoka
Baby
and
Yeah.
her parents
cute.
and her village.
So
I-
sweet.
Loved Pop T, her mom.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
love.
she was so badass.
She was voiced by Janina, right?
Mhm.
She does the voice for Iden Versio.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
Got
That
it.
is
And so
cool.
like that was awesome, first of all. But I love how much Pop T like looked like Ahsoka,
Mhm.
obviously, and like just like was like had like the same character as her. But I loved everything about her.
Yeah.
I never thought I would really want baby Ahsoka, even though after like watching this, it's like, oh, I didn't really think I needed that, but it was like really cute, and it was a cute little foundation at least.
Right.
I never thought I'd like seeing the family and like the village aspect as much as I did.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, baby Ahsoka's cute. I would have loved seeing that no matter what. But like seeing the family and like the way that whole village like is, and the essence of the Force that's already there
Yeah.
that they believe in, and that spirit, like it shows so much through Ahsoka then throughout her life later on, whether she knows that or not. Like,
This short like really reminded me a lot actually of the Vision short, The Village Bride.
mhm.
Even though
This whole show reminded me of Vision in a good
Yeah.
way.
Mhm.
This one obviously it wasn't like about like a couple, but like the way that like the planet and they like relied so much like on like the Force like around it. It reminded me of that. Was this actually Shilly, or was it like another planet with a Togruta settlement?
I don't know.
I remember when we watched it at Celebration, I feel like somebody asked that, but I can't remember what Dave did. I think he did his usual like, that's great. Next question
Okay.
kind of
Moving
thing. So
on.
Could be
I
anything
think
then.
it's supposed to be, but I don't know if they actually want to say it is for some reason.
Okay.
Interesting.
Matt brings
uh,
up seeing a baby showing forth. It was very Grogu touching the Mudhorn, or even the Rancor, right? Very,
I thought
Yeah.
that in like Ezra
Similar.
too with the animal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
I see with Ezra. I was expecting her to pull a Grogu and like lift up the beast during the attack, during the initial attack with her mom.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm glad they didn't. Obviously, like I think while it's an echo of Ezra, even though she's technically doing it before him, it's like it plays well, and it shows like the innate connection to another living thing is one of the best ways you can show that connection to the Force. And
for
they
sure.
they kept it in check. They're like, oh, she's a baby.
yeah,
She's
I love
literally
that
one
little-
year old. Doesn't
Yeah.
know
She's not-
anything. That's
we know
enough.
Yoda's species has like a very strong connection to the Force, so it makes
Right.
sense for Grogu. He's 50.
Yeah.
She's,
Yeah, he's-
she's a year old.
She's a year old, and like all she knows is like her mom's getting attacked by like a tiger. She's gonna laugh her butt off because she thinks that her mom's.
Yeah.
gonna
I was
have,
gonna
like,
say
like,
her
an axe
laughing.
there.
Yeah.
Just
So, like,
laughing.
love
Very
that.
on brand Ahsoka to just be totally
The
inconsiderate to the danger she's in, and just be like,
Yes.
"No, what's up?"
Yeah.
Exactly.
Our good friend Art is in the chat. How's it going, Art?
What's up?
Both parents did really show Ahsoka's personality and
Oh,
wisdom. Jamie, I think you just kind of mentioned that her
Yeah,
mom was just like her.
Her mom obviously in looks, but like also personality. Her dad as well. Like I loved both of that so much.
Yeah.
I also just love how her parents weren't just like needlessly slaughtered for like no reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was gonna
Oh
happen.
man, yeah, that's nice. They
Yeah,
just
this is
go in
good.
and
It's a
keep
good
living their
change.
lives.
Pretty good.
Yeah, like sure, like she will be taken away from her family to join the Jedi, but like her family's not like dead. She's not orphaned.
Yeah.
That poor
I
deer,
like-
though.
I know, like
They had
they're
to kill
really
the deer.
Yeah, that was
well, not only kill the deer, but it's apparently a ritual to make the deer die slowly for a second so that a child can go, oh, so that's death, huh?
Oh, okay.
Which is just a little messed up.
It was a little
Um,
interesting.
looks like
You know,
there's-
I was like, come on,
Yeah.
can you put it out of its misery for Christ?
Oh, took me back to like Red Dead or something. But
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, right.
Very
I love
same
how-
feels.
I love how Ahsoka cries at first, and then her mom's like, "Oh, that don't fear death." You know, it was a great quote. And then from there on, Ahsoka's just laughing, like from then till the
She's
end.
like,
so-
oh, okay, cool. Got it.
This is great.
Just defines her personality from there on out.
It really
Yeah.
does though. Like,
I loved the little panda dogs.
those were great.
yes.
Oh my god, they're so cute.
Do those have a
Alon.
name?
I don't
Not yet.
If
I
they
don't
do,
know if
they
they-
haven't told us yet.
Yeah, they're
I'm
so
hoping
cute though.
There'll be
I'm
plushies
hoping-
next week at Batu.
There better
probably.
be.
I'll
Sign
buy
me
them
up.
immediately.
I'm gonna hit up every single person who can go to Batu for me and get me a trio of these little dudes because
For sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna need them.
But yeah,
So-
Ahsoka reaches out, touches the lion tiger thing. I don't
Boops
even
the
know.
snoot.
I don't know what that was called
Oops.
either. I love how like she comes riding back in on it. Like he didn't pick her up
casually.
and carry her.
No.
Oh, we have.
They're all about to
a-
just unload on
visitor.
the poor thing, and then
Ah,
Statement today.
hello.
And he's gone.
That was here, and then he can't be here.
drops in, interrupts, refuses to elaborate.
Perfect. Very Matt.
But yeah, this opening episode was so cute. I don't know why. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I thought it was gonna be like slow, and then I was like, oh, this is adorable. And hot take, baby Ahsoka cuter than Grogu. How about that?
Oh, damn,
That is
he's
a
not
hot
behind
take.
me. He's
I
usually
agree.
right there.
He's behind you.
Sorry, I'm
Grogu's
biased.
not-
Murder
Grogu's
right now.
angry. No, I mean they're both. I don't know. I'm just. It's recency bias.
I love my little frog boy.
Hey,
He's
yeah.
cute.
I know.
but
I have a
don't know.
bias of my own. I mean, I know where I stand and why I stand there.
Jamie, did we talk about the blue Togrutas?
We did.
That was something I
yeah.
mentioned during
So,
the episode.
Ahsoka's dad is purple, which is
Purple,
great because
blue,
like that's
yeah.
something we really haven't like seen like another colored like Togruta. Like we've really only seen like orange ever with like Shakti and Ahsoka, and then like, we see like a few yellow when they go to Chile. So that actually confirms that this was not Chile. Now that I'm thinking about it, because they go there in the Clone Wars.
The Plutus.
Anyway, yeah, you guys remember that? It looked totally different than like this planet.
That's true.
But to Blutus.
I know that killed me. I like
Matt, are you
that.
able
Her-
Is it safe for you to come in, Matt? Give me a nod
I think
backstage.
he'll let us know.
He shrugged. Yes.
I
Okay.
what do you
Matt?
call it?
Hello?
I enjoyed that.
Plutus.
It's a
This was
blue.
going to be
Oh,
hell on the
jeez.
listeners.
Oh,
It really
I think
is.
I can come in for a little bit.
All right.
okay.
Well-
Well,
Matt, do you have any takes on this? You're muted.
well, he doesn't.
This one's not making it
does
to
he know he's
podcast
muted?
format, guys.
Sorry.
Matt, did you have any more thoughts about the Baby Ahsoka episode? Life and Death.
No,
that was the name,
I
right?
just really liked, like I said before, I really liked seeing another way that like a baby can show its force sensitivity. We saw in the Clone Wars that they can lift objects, like small blocks and stuff like that. Like not like Baby Yoda was trained in the temple for 50 years, so he doesn't count. But like
I remember
actual
that was a big thing
babies-
for you, the training,
yeah,
when they revealed Grogu had training. But
I was like, that's a little silly, but whatever. Lifting blocks and stuff like that is cool.
oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
like actually being able to like connect to animals, which is a fairly recent thing in the Force, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of like canon.
Mhm.
I don't remember a lot of like animal training Force powers and legends,
What about
as far
Ezra?
as I can tell. No, I'm saying like in canon, that's like a new thing.
Because with Ezra, that was like the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, he
we've
was like
seen-
the Eliza Thornberry of Jedi.
Actually showing it, yeah.
Yeah.
Luke uses it actually in the most recent comic. He goes to Coruscant to free a family who works with Crimson Dawn, who are trying to reveal the second Death Star to the rebels, and he
Oh, that's
saves
right.
them by going into the sewers of Coruscant and sending a bunch of sewer rats against
The sewers of Coruscant, you say?
Yeah,
Very Shadows of the Empire.
it was very Shadows of the Empire. I loved it. And he was dressed as an Imperial. It was really cool. But I'm getting way
Getting
off
off
topic,
track.
as I always
Yeah.
do.
Now that
I
I
come
think of it,
in, derail everything, and then leave. That's what I'm
I
going to
was
do.
talking about the Tablutas.
To blue.
I love seeing. I just thought of this, but I love that we see Baby Ahsoka use the Force in a small way. But we see in the Jedi episode of The Mandalorian, we see her talking to Baby Yoda, Grogu. I don't know. That kind of adds more to that now, like her
Yeah.
talking to a baby, quote unquote, 50-year-old baby, and her as a baby. I don't know. That just
Yeah, I agree. It makes you
Strikes
think
a
about it
chord.
more. And
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
speaking of striking a chord.
I agree.
On to Count Dooku.
Oh,
Move on. Oh, yeah, we can move on.
Justice,
Count Dooku.
episode 2.
I
don't
love
what was-
how this was
Yeah, go
like
ahead.
a medieval like peasant town.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like everyone even almost had like borderline like pilgrim Puritan like type costumes like or outfits.
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
It,
I
it
don't really
was.
understand.
The interior architecture had that
yeah.
kind of vibe too. I couldn't place it, but you're right.
Yeah,
That's totally it.
it looked very like a tavern on the side of the road and like Skyrim kind of deal. It
I was
I got
very-
more
thinking
like-
Skyrim.
I got more like
Those
American
poor
Revolution
droids.
vibes.
a little bit.
Really?
Like the red
the-
coats being the blue coats there. Whatever.
The red coats being the blue coats. I could see that.
I can-
Whoever those
yeah,
people
I
were.
can
And
see
then
it.
the ragtag farmers with the rifles and whatever.
I definitely got medieval feels from this
Mm-hmm.
village and feudal Japan from the previous village. So
Yeah.
Yes.
those were kind of the
Yeah.
you can tell. And Dave
Classic
Filoni, you
Filoni.
know,
Mhm.
I was gonna say he doesn't hide the fact that like he just loves stylizing things after
Architecture.
Japan.
Oh yeah.
He just goes nuts in this show, in those regards.
What did you guys think of 2 Tons, the big droid?
Teuton.
Living in the
so
barn.
cute.
Absolute
Two-tone.
lad.
Oh yeah.
I
Answers the
love
door
him.
and is like this imposing presence, and then the kid's just like, "Oh well, I got Teuton to keep me company," and Teuton's like, just like waves.
He's good
so
company.
cute.
He's good
I'm gonna
company.
tell
we talking
Ryan
about
that's our
Qui-Gon's
next
skin?
droid build.
He'll be down.
I feel like he needs a cream or something. They need to take him to Elizabeth Grady or something like that. Like the texture on Qui-Gon's face looks so off to me. I don't know what it was.
The texture was a little interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looked like it was like crayon, like drawn on.
Yeah.
Like not in a
Yeah.
bad way. It just looked. It was a
Yeah.
cool
It had a
look. but
grain. It was
different.
grainy as hell. Yeah.
grainy and dry. Yeah.
I
He
didn't
needed
even
cream,
notice
like you
that.
said.
That's pretty funny.
I was kind of laughing that like Qui-Gon
Yes,
had such a
five-head.
deep V in his tunic there.
Yeah, there was like no under.
What was he doing? Like,
The-
what's
oh,
his
yeah,
plan?
Showing
and,
off
like,
his
like,
pecs.
He had some
Walking around,
Goku
like-
level, pecs there. Looks like
You
he's
don't-
about
you
to
don't-
go beat the crap out of Frieza.
You don't get those pecs and not show them off. That's a disservice to
I
anybody
mean,
around you.
It's like,
Makes
Dooku's like,
sense.
all right, you do you, buddy. It's just like,
I like that he supports it. Yeah.
yeah, he
Yeah.
does. Like,
He's a good master.
Dooku
Yeah,
walks
Obi-Wan would have
around,
totally
like,
judged
wearing
Anakin
his-
for that.
Mhm.
Oh, for sure.
Well, I mean, because if Anakin did it, like,
would've been
that's a
like-
whole different. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
That was
buddy.
the style
yeah,
back
yeah,
then.
it's true. Qui-Gon's a little more somehow still reserved about it.
Exactly.
So when in the timeline do you think this was?
don't know, I'd
Qui-Gon
say,
was
like-
probably what, like Obi-Wan's age
Ooh,
in the Phantom Menace. So
good
like
I would
question.
say
25?
that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
looked. Yeah.
So how much
wow.
before Phantom Menace was
16?
this?
So give or take 20 years.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Qui-Gon dies
Yeah.
at what, 53 or 54? I think he's
Sure.
either a couple years older or a couple years younger than Luke, who was 53 when he died. I think he was in his 50s though. So
Matt
he's
keeps
at-
track of like what everyone's age and like the first film they're in, and then when they die, he has like I bet he has a whole like
I do.
It's like a spreadsheet.
spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
It's a very
just
extensive.
for Star Wars.
You
stuff.
say that, but he
List.
actually does.
Somebody
No, I do.
probably
I do.
does.
This isn't a kid. This isn't a joke.
So it's safe
I
to
love that.
assume 20
Matt, we were this
to
close.
30
Like
years
20 to
before
30?
Phantom Menace then?
I would say 30 years before the
Yeah,
Phantom
definitely-
Menace. So
definitely
that.
62
Longer side.
BBY, which is
We were this close to
Wow.
on-screen High Republic content then, right?
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
50
this
years
is like
before.
the tail
Damn.
end ish.
Damn.
What?
Yeah, because
Kinda-
Dooku's only just noticing the cracks.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
the beginning of the decline.
Exactly. And-
Visible decline.
Yeah, because Dooku's not wearing big old golden and white robes. He's wearing like
Brown and silver
Garbage.
chain.
yeah. No, he's
Hey,
not wearing
I
garbage.
like
I
this
love,
Wait a
love his
minute.
cape. I love his
That's-
cape.
What are you talking
Well,
about?
It is garbage bag colored.
Off
at the
topic
very
question.
Yeah.
I guess for
brown
you, Matt,
suit.
or whoever knows, what like ended the High Republic going into the Republic era? I mean, it kind of fits with this. So
Just it's like a general sense of like just a decline.
so
and a
in
more,
hindsight, it was the High Republic. Like at the time, they didn't.
I
Yeah, it was just the
guess-
Republic. They didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't call it World War II at the time or whatever. you
Right.
know, like, it's all how we see how we frame it in
Right.
retrospect.
I
But-
never
I think
thought
they
about
did
it.
call it
Yeah.
World War II at the time, not
Yeah, that
World
was a
War
bad
One.
example.
Yeah, they called it the
Yeah.
Great
World
War.
War One.
Okay, maybe if I'd said World War One, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, like we see the stagnation and the corruption occurring that evidently wasn't present during the High Republic. Now I've kind of fallen off with the novels, so I don't know. They've probably shown some cracks starting to show
Yeah.
somewhere along the lines, but I would say
Yeah.
probably for the most part, other than the the Great Disaster, things are pretty smooth in the High Republic.
Right.
So when you start seeing planets getting openly taken advantage of for their resources like this,
You're like, you know what? This isn't great.
yeah, that's when
Yeah.
you start seeing, oh wait, maybe we're not the good guys We're the
Yeah.
baddies.
I think that's why
Yeah.
it's cool seeing Dooku and the whole like we stand with the people, not the Republic, and like that's what they should always be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
keeps that. And like Dooku's got some good points in
Yeah, he
these
does.
episodes.
He's-
I'm like,
He's
oh,
experiencing doubt. This is the
it
beginning
makes
of
sense.
his end. He's
Yeah.
I really
experiencing
feel
that
for
doubt.
Dooku right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love Jedi Dooku. It was so cool to see him.
Yeah,
we have some
I
novels
love
with him,
that.
but
I just
No, but
love
like, yeah.
I love that
Things
like
moving.
inquisitive face. Like every time a Jedi talks to him, he's like every like
I must
throughout the
ponder.
3 episodes is like, I don't know about this. Every
They're
time.
like-
Agreed.
There's some
Like when
really
Mace
good
was throwing
moments.
shade in this.
Oh
in
my
the
god,
third one.
Mace! I wanted to like
on
smack him.
Raxus.
Mace
Right?
blows. If there's one
I-
Jedi, that's the bad one. It's him. He sucks.
He's-
Him
I
and
have
Kiadamundi.
never
He's such
really
a rule following jerk.
I love how Dooku literally says that to his face in
Yeah.
a kind way. Like I have never related to Dooku like at all ever. But when Mace Windu is like saying, "Oh, we gotta follow like all the rules because the council said so," and Dooku's just like, "Friend, f off," kind of.
Yeah.
Like that's like literally like how it goes, and I'm just
Can you
like,
really
yes.
look yourself in the mirror if
Like-
you keep this shit up?
Like how do
So
you live with
good.
yourself, Mace?
Yeah.
Good question.
I
Yeah,
love
'cause-
that.
You know, so many people talk about like the Jedi fell into this like dogmatic rule following state and they were way too strict and blah blah blah. But if you look at it, it's really only Mace. Mace Windu is basically like the only strict rule following Jedi there is. Because like
Mhm.
even Obi-Wan and we can debate whether Yoda knew or not, but at least Obi-Wan knew about Anakin and Padme. And he just let it
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah.
People complain like, oh, the Jedi were dogmatic and that's why Anakin fell. But no, the Jedi were perfectly content with letting
But
him
wouldn't you
hang around with Padme and
wouldn't you argue that Obi-Wan was biased and like of all people, like he was the one who would let that go
Oh,
and would break
yeah.
the rules for Anakin? Like I think if anyone else
experienced it
found out
himself.
about that,
Mhm.
and like I think it's ridiculous that no one found out because like someone should have been asking.
Oh
I
yeah.
think
I'm sorry.
it's a
The most unrealistic thing about the Star Wars universe is that no one was asking Padme about who the father was because I mean she would be getting pestered about that left,
none
right,
of their
center.
business. None of their
I know.
business. This
Well, I
is an
think it was-
enlightened
He
He
age.
was trying to keep it a secret though. Like the big dresses were so nobody did know.
Right.
Mm.
Even
boy,
though
I don't know if
it
anyone
didn't
was
do
fooled.
well.
Yeah.
Wait.
That was the idea.
But that's
Towards the end, it's just very
they stuffed
very
her.
clear.
They stuffed Padme like a turkey for her
Well,
funeral.
For the funeral, that's because
that.
they wanted people to think she didn't have the kids.
But I
So
mean,
that
like
way-
even
yeah.
when they
But if
when
they
they
were
come
trying to
back
keep
from
her
rescuing
pregnancy a
Palpatine
secret.
and like everyone leaves except for Anakin and Padme, like they could not have been more obvious. That
Oh,
that
yeah.
scene will always
Yeah.
bother me. But I really loved how the son, despite being under duress, is just like, nah, man, they're legit. They have some good points. I'm on
Yeah.
their side.
I got
I-
some
Yeah.
my tons. They gave me some food.
Thank you for reeling that back in. But yeah, I loved how
Yeah.
I love this. I did not really love this planet, but I love how it was. Yeah, there's the city of this planet, the capital. These people live on the absolute opposite side and are dying. And this kid who has never seen that before in his life and is forced to face it is just like, yo, this is not good. And I love how at least there's attempts to making it better.
Hopefully.
I love the ending as
Yeah.
well. How like Dooku says to Qui-Gon, or Qui-Gon asks, he's like, "Oh, so will things like be better?" And he's like, "Oh, I was just like thinking on my feet." And Dooku says to him something that's just like, "You're a wiser man than I am, Qui-Gon Jinn." That's the only time he calls him Qui-Gon the entire episode. So like, imagine going into this and not knowing that was Qui-Gon.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That was
Yeah.
hilarious.
That was my mom and dad.
What a twist! Like that's such a reveal. Because like I feel
Yeah.
like for like an
He doesn't
average
quite
like, movie
look like him,
viewer,
yeah.
even like a Clone Wars viewer, you might not even know that like Dooku was like Qui-Gon's master.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
That's a great
not something
perspective,
that's like
yeah.
super out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
my,
what-
my dad's face
had that
lit
issue.
up. Qui-Gon is one of his favorite Jedi, and
Oh, yeah?
he was like,
Yeah.
Well, he must have his cup
In that
runneth
moment.
over.
Yeah.
Just, in this.
"Yeah, there
Aw,
he is."
there
There's
he
some
is.
pewter.
And he
Qui-Gon.
did the
Pewter
stance
goodness.
when they squared up. That,
Yes.
that standoff scene was so tense.
It
Oh
That
my
was.
god.
There's a this show obviously is very beautiful. There everything is in like the new updated like Bad Batch like engine, so like everything is like really crisp and you can see
Except
all
for the soup.
textures and
The soup looked bad.
This
I was
soup
just-
looked
Oh my
so
God,
bad.
It was awful.
The last
knew-
episode, it was
It
boiling
was
so bad.
bad.
The soup at the last episode?
Yeah,
How did
it
we get to
literally
that?
looked-
no
it was like
to it. It's literally just a flat texture and
Mhm.
bubbles with no depth to it.
And then when they stir it, and I'm
Yeah, they stirred it and it didn't even
it was
move.
so, it was so bad.
Awful.
everything
Who
but
let that
soup
go?
was good in this visually.
Yes.
I'm glad we all
Um,
noticed that.
That's like we
Yeah.
watched it, and Ryan was
You-
like, "That looked terrible."
totally
Like,
unlocked
okay,
that because
thank
I forgot to rewatch all of them in time, and so like I knew when I watched it how much I hated that. Thank you.
the one
Damn, I
thing.
hate the soup.
That's why I'm here.
Stupid
The
stuff.
soup is in the
No
last
soup for you.
episode. Oh. Let's
Oh,
move on to the
God.
next episode. So the
Wait,
last.
whoa, what do I say? One more thing. We were just talking about how, Qui-Gon and the son, and I really liked the fact that, Dooku's about to strike down this senator.
Just casually force
And-
joking out
Oh
in the open.
yeah.
He's about to kill this senator, and Qui-Gon's like, go save your dad. Like, he frees the prisoner. He's like, go save your dad. So he finds the way to preserve life and not kill anyone and still get the job done, because the son will appeal to the father and the father will probably listen, who knows. But, Dooku's ready to just kill, like immediately just like go right to violence when
And-
Qui-Gon kind of figures out like the alternate path. And that's
But you
very
kinda-
Qui-Gon.
It is. But at the same time, I think the show kind of eggs you into Dooku's position and how he's feeling in that
Mhm.
moment, because like the way they're just unloading on these poor civilians who are just trying to defend themselves at this point. You really are feeling for them and want this to be put to a stop. And this guy is like, I'm gonna freaking torch this entire place, and I'm just gonna do some others just for fun, just because you hurt my feelings. And then like when he starts choking, I'm like, I don't know, I kind of got a little too Anakin in there. I'm just like, come on,
That's what I was thinking.
snuff him
yeah.
out, snuff him
Do
out.
it. Do
Well,
it.
that's
very
that's the
Anakin.
thing. That's the thing about Jedi. They're better than us. I like watching the guy get choked out. I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that. I'm all set.
So you're not a
But-
Jedi.
I'm not a Jedi.
I introduce you as my Bombad Jedi
I'm-
pal every episode.
I'm
Matt
not
is
a
the Sith in
trained
hiding.
You're gonna have to
Jedi. I'm a
refrain.
I'm a,
You have
I'm a
to order a
Jedi
retraction.
fanboy, but I haven't
Okay.
spent 25, 27 years of my life training to, be calm enough to not choke somebody with the Force who threatens to burn down an entire village and
That's
shoot
true.
everybody.
You are not the calm one. We're playing that Ghostbusters game lately, and you freak out when we're about to lose, and I'm like, let's stay calm.
Mad.
As a kid, I threw
Stop.
all my points into dark side, so I totally know why I did the things I did.
Yeah.
Listen, they're easier powers to use.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Is the dark side stronger?
Nope.
No.
It is.
No,
No, but that's the thing. As an adult, I've learned that all the light side skills, while passive, will make you pretty much invulnerable, and I've now learned that that's usually the easier way to go in most video games. So
There you go.
learn over time. I love the lighting in the square, like the square off that Mace and Dooku had, like the dust that had settled like at one point.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah,
It
that's
reminded
the
me very
next
much of
episode.
episode 1. When Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are busting through the gas,
the door,
dioxin.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Which brings us to that episode on Raxus.
We went back to Raxus.
They
ladies
show
and
us
It's just kinda.
I see. Oops,
so
hit my
good.
mic. I see the foliage, very autumnal.
Yeah.
Autumnal? Is that how
the
you pronounce
planet
it?
that's
Autumnal.
always
I've never said that out
in
loud.
autumn.
It's always in autumn on Raxus. So
Yeah. This was
Good timing.
my
Yeah.
initial thoughts. I'm just like, oh gosh, this is beautiful. I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I love Raxus, and I only love Raxus visually. And yeah, I love how we could see it again. But it really was, not to criticize here, guys, but there was a couple of spots that were literally just copy and pasted from the Bad Batch episode when they go to Raxus.
Well, yeah.
Oh no! Hey,
at one
pretty
point,
much.
The assets are there.
with just a little more
Literally,
crayon.
Dooku literally
A little
kneels on the ground, picks up the dirt, puts it in his hands, and I'm like, Hunter did that last year. Anyway,
Actually, Dooku
Wow.
did it first because this
Dooku
Impressive.
did do it first.
is
But so what Hunter was actually doing, he was sniffing, and he's like, "Oh, a Sith Lord was here." That's what. This was.
That's
But,
what
like,
this was.
A great planet to
And it was
set it for
him.
like the crux of Dooku
Oh,
going
yeah.
F this, because
Yeah,
that's, we all
literally.
know what happens to Raxus. So goodness.
He
Yep.
has
Yeah.
so many moments that are just like, "Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna be a separatist."
Yeah.
You guys get some good points, but you gotta do it better though.
Yeah,
See, he comes in and does it better than.
Yeah, that's exactly what he does. But yeah, I thought that the entire time the senator was going to be revealed to be Senator Singh. That's later on the senator during the Clone Wars, but I'm glad it wasn't. It was just like the predecessor, possibly a few senators before, but who knows.
Yeah, because
I liked the way
when
they
does
did
this
it.
take place?
I really like the Jedi as well, the one that they were picking up her body. So yeah, Katri, she had
Oh,
a
yeah,
really
she was
cool look
great.
to her.
Great performance.
Awesome performance. She was great.
Yeah.
She looked cool
speaking
in
of-
the.
A little dialogue heavy. I don't know.
I gotta.
given
I'm
her
sorry.
less
I
lines.
gotta jump ahead, but the funeral. Keanu
Oh my god. Yes.
What he said.
With the hood. Did anyone else like,
It
man,
was
how
so-
annoying must that be to put on? Like,
Can he even reach?
Like, dude, you
hold
need
on.
to have
You
it
think he
up.
bends over and then someone else puts it over for him?
He uses the Force.
Oh my god, yes.
I took a picture of it. I had to pause the show. I was absolutely dying. I like texted Becca this morning and I was like, "Did you watch Tales?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then I just sent
The
her that
first thing you
photo.
sent.
That's the first thing I sent to her.
I was
Nothing
ready to
about
talk
Ahsoka.
details. Yeah.
I just sent Keanu Mundi.
My headcanon is just like someone gets on a ladder and just like goes puts it on him.
Whoever
It's too
was-
good.
So many
Whoever-
questions about his species and like what does their hat wear like and like how do they put it
Yeah, like,
on? Is there like a droid
why?
that does it for them? Like, because they can't all be force sensitive.
How does Keanu
Dooku
Mundi
was-
put on a hat is the same situation as how does a dog wear pants? Like this or like this?
Dooku
Well,
was already.
I think you could probably put that hood on. Or let's say his head's like this tall. You just
It's very
reach all the
flush
way
to
down.
his body.
You gotta
Pull the hood
fling
up.
that though.
I don't think his arms are long enough to do that, man. That's like trying
How
to pull
tall
a
do you think
grapefruit out
his
of your
arm-
back. You
How tall do you
gotta
think
have
his
like
head is?
Slenderman arms.
He's got to do
His
it big.
head's really
Yeah, but to
freaking
get
tall,
it-
man.
To get it over though, that's the trick.
Yeah.
When he wears it down,
gotta,
though,
like-
wouldn't it be like
Because
Because it
dragging on the
comes
ground?
down. Yeah, it comes
Yeah.
down to here. So you gotta pull it.
We got a lot of questions
Dooku
about this and this only.
This is the problem with costumers running a stream because we just have the wrong questions sometimes.
Dooku
No,
was already
this
on
is
the
right
fence
question.
about leaving the order, and then he saw that, and he's like, you know what?
He's like,
I'm
he's
out
like,
of here.
I'm done with this.
I'm taking
He's
my
got that
keeps
face.
and I'm leaving. But
Hold on.
the Jack literally just said, this is the problem with the costumers running a thing. The first thing I noticed of Dooku and Qui-Gon getting off the ship in the second episode was the fact that their tabards were crossed, and I was like, that's not a thing. Why is that
Oh,
happening?
when they did that. Yeah. And I was
And-
like, I was
but
looking like that
hey.
doesn't match.
Don't cross the
Anyway.
Yeah, that
tabards.
did seem weird.
It's like,
Yeah.
that doesn't look right.
What is it?
Anyway.
Tabard? What is that?
Yeah, the
Tabard.
tabards, the two
Where they
go.
like,
Also,
pieces
the
that come
things.
front.
They had
were
the gall to
crossed in the
update
front.
Anakin's Clone Wars armor.
Oh.
for no
Oh my
reason.
god, the update on
Like-
him and Ahsoka's costumes. I was like, why?
It looks
Ahsoka's
good, but I'm
is
like,
cool.
damn
It's
it!
totally
Do you know how
different.
much work you're adding to my plate?
Right.
And Obi-Wan's hair?
Obi-Wan
happened to
wearing the
Obi-Wan's
full
hair?
armor with
We're-
the
Oh my
hair.
god, yeah.
We're getting
It's
ahead of
like-
ourselves.
Oh, we're all over the
Just
place.
back up a little.
At the funeral, they lowered the Jedi down in the casket, I
Where's
guess.
Spock?
Do you think they like Jedi are always burned, right? Are they always burned, or is that?
I
Is that
thought-
what that light is?
I thought
So
that's what
like,
that happened.
yeah. Did they lower them down and just incinerate them? Not to laugh.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, but
I
I
think
think
so.
that was my assumption. Yeah.
That was intense. Just this beam
Yeah, I
of
mean,
light
there's
coming
no
out.
better way to get you back into the Force, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
At least
they-
it looks prettier than a fire, though.
Sending you back to the Force Express.
Well,
Like, is
Qui-Gon's
someone just
funeral
backstage
is
like
metal
pulling the
as hell.
lever? Like,
Yeah,
But,
Qui-Gon
like,
has
the
like
smell-
terrible.
Qui-Gon
never
has like the
stop
big like
talking
funeral
about it.
pyre.
Like, I know
The
there's an
smell
opening in
is
the middle,
awful.
But
Because they
that's
probably-
hair and skin and
Because they
everything,
didn't do it
clothes
on
burning.
Coruscant.
True.
It's just not a good call. It's just not a good call.
Oh no, but you know, it's the
Not one person
What'd
is
you say?
reacting.
But yeah. So the next episode, you want to move on to that?
Boy, we flew through that one, huh? We talked about the
like-
hood.
Not
and the
much
dirt.
happens other than
Well, we
like
talked
There
about
wasn't
we talked about
much
Mace
besides
Windu getting
Mace.
throwing that shade.
Well,
Yeah,
I liked the end when Mace Windu and Dooku are talking, and Mace.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you look at Mace, and he's wrong, but he's not entirely wrong. Like he's
He's
just
not
all
like a bad
"Oh,
guy."
We should talk to the
Right.
council for this, and obviously Dooku kind of sees him being like, we should talk to the council. I love the council. The council's great because he knows he's getting a council position. Although, if you believe Dooku or if you believe Mace Windu, he's not. He didn't know that at the time.
I don't
know.
believe that.
But that's the kind of corruption I think I love seeing in the Jedi. Like, giving Mace a council position and then Mace kind of holding off on causing trouble because he doesn't want to jeopardize his position on the council, which ties back into Master and
Politics.
Apprentice. where
Mhm.
you know Qui-Gon doesn't want to join the council because he thinks it's going to become a hindrance to him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And one sec, this guy's talking way too loud.
I think that like one thing to like add on like as well is it shows like when the truth is revealed of how the governor and then the senator die, in which it was the guards, the one guard is like trying to like explain himself, and Dooku is just like eating this up, being like, "Oh my god, like yeah, this guy's making a lot of sense." And Mace Windu's just like, "All right, you guys are book him, we're done here." He just like deals with it.
Bring in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck 'em low.
that's
Yeah,
it. You know, that's it. I mean, that's Mace to a T. Again, Mace
Yeah.
sucks. Mace blows. He's awful. But yeah,
He has some good
he's-
moments.
Okay.
Not in this.
Not in this.
Cut
Not
off
in this.
Jacob's head. That's like it.
What Mace moments shine to you? What makes you think Mace is a great
This
Jedi?
party.
When
It's
he
over.
dies,
This party's over.
over.
is a good one.
This party's over. It's
And
pretty
when he
good.
dies, yep.
And when
This party's over is great. And when he dies,
Yeah, when he dies,
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, he almost saved
well,
everybody.
he's ready to kill Palpatine when he, like in that scene.
Yeah.
which
Where's
is a-
that
When's the
Mace?
truth?
he's,
Bring-
I know,
bring
right?
that.
He's. Can you imagine him hovering over Palpatine? Anakin's like, "No, I need to save him," and Mace is like, "I need to talk to the council. We need to talk to the. I don't know.
All
I don't
Mace
know what
had
to
to
do."
do was go save him for what, and then Anakin had to go
What do you
That's
need
true.
him for?
And then Mace is just like,
things.
"Checkmate, Anakin." And just stab.
Check Mace.
Oh. All right, we gotta end early. That's it. Nice drop.
Bye.
wow.
On
So,
to the Sith Lord,
Yes.
which was my favorite episode of this whole thing.
Oh,
I think mine
so
as
I have
good.
so many thoughts, and the first one is apparently Yoda's just a weirdo.
Yes.
Apparently Yoda's just got a speech impediment, which I don't
backwards
know how I
talking
feel
freak.
about that.
Yeah, I love that.
I love it too.
He's just living his life. He's like,
That's
you know
weird,
what?
I do.
At this point, I'm
That's
just gonna
what you
start
want.
talking nuts.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
maybe she's not
But-
900, and maybe he's just senile.
Guys, the way that this episode starts, Dooku casually walks into the archives, casually walks
Yeah.
into the secret part of the archives, casually punches in the code that is he stole from Sifo Dyas, deletes Camino.
That was big.
That was such a good
was
way
so
to
cool to
start
see
that.
that.
It was
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 so
not
good.
expecting
Can
to
I
see
say,
that.
I don't understand how Star Wars buttons work because he literally pressed the same exact buttons in the same exact order, and it did 3 different things. I don't
Maybe
get
it's
it.
the timing of it. This was
That's
a
just-
slow
yeah.
press and then doot doot.
Well, how do you
It
know?
did.
How do you know Sifo Dyas's password versus delete Camino?
He stole
Yeah.
it. I don't know. But yeah,
Jedi
I
stuff.
love how that happens. And then in the moment he goes back into the rest of the archives, that place is busy as all hell. And Jocasta News like, we haven't had this many customers in years because of your student Qui-Gon, and it's during the Phantom Menace.
It's literally during
Like,
my
it's the
mind.
very
Oh.
end. Yeah.
like literally Panaka is
fantastic.
trying to get like a Senate
That's so
tour
good.
while this is happening. They're landed on Coruscant,
Yep.
and he's trying to trade in his electro binoculars. He's off running around.
Yep.
Qui-Gon's at the
Like,
temple.
This is I cannot wait for total aside the books for from a certain point of view for the prequels, because like this is what it would have been. This was a chapter from a Phantom Menace from a certain point of view of just what was happening in the Jedi Archive, and I was
It was so good.
How did he get in so easily? Like, not the password part, but just he's left the order at this point.
He's not,
Yeah.
Well, see, he
Dooku
waited until the
is-
camera had someone
He's-
blocking him, and then that's how he knew no one else could see him.
That's true. That's true.
He has left the Order, but he's not on bad terms with the
Yeah,
Order.
no, they
No,
welcome
he's
him
still
back.
very respected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
I
He wasn't
haven't-
a
That's what it
Jedi at that
is.
point. Okay.
No, I haven't read Brotherhood, but apparently in Brotherhood, there's a whole big thing about like Yoda lets him keep his lightsaber, and he comes back to the temple, you know, fairly frequently, not very frequently, but enough that he's like a fairly recognizable presence. And I think this episode plays into that well. I don't think it contradicts Dooku Jedi Lost or Master and Apprentice, which also detail that he left the Order before the Phantom Menace, specifically because
Padawan
he hasn't
does
met
too.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
You know, he
Right.
specifically says in this
Right.
episode he hasn't met Obi-Wan yet. If he was still a Jedi,
He would have.
there's
Yeah.
no way he wouldn't have met Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon's,
Yeah,
you know,
I thought that was
apprentice.
so strange. That makes
Yeah.
so much more
Yeah.
sense now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's not a Jedi at this point.
The way that I see it is it's like you have a doctor who has obviously their doctorate, but they're just not practicing. Like there's still a doctor.
They let him back in the
game.
hospital.
They let him
Yeah,
hang out.
they let him stroll into the hospital and delete a patient's
He's not
records.
licensed.
No,
Yeah.
that would be
Well, he's
like
just not a
against,
licensed doctor,
really
so-
against the rules.
Yeah.
But like
Dr.
that's like an
Duku, it's
extreme
nice to
case.
see you again. He's sitting there like,
It's so funny that he walks in and deletes a planet. Like
It seems
Well,
so easy.
that's walking into
Yeah.
the Pentagon and like deleting Nebraska or something. Like
Okay.
I don't know if
Can I
that's how that
just-
works, but
I have literally
That's why going into
painstakingly
the church
created.
computer.
It's so easy. I have like painstakingly created an original character over the whole fact that the planet Kamino was deleted and that Jocasta knew straight up let it happen. I literally made a Jedi archivist who like
And look at
works
that.
in the Becca knows all about this. She works with all the computers so that way like this kind of thing doesn't happen. But just, oh my god, I just
so that got
Jedi
retconned.
trooper.
so
No,
that
it
your
didn't-
your
no,
thing got
it didn't get-
retconned?
No, it did not get retconned because at this point in time, she's still very small. She's like Anakin's age at this point in time, so like she's not working there yet. But she does trace it back that it was deleted. But this is my own personal fan theories.
Anakin was like 10 years old.
I was about to say, yeah, Anakin's
She's a kid.
9.
Anyway,
Okay.
but that's
Okay.
my own like thing. I'm just saying like the moment like Dooku's like wandering into the archives there, I'm just like, where is she? And then I'm like, oh my god, this is what's happening.
That's
don't
cool
know.
though. It helps.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yaddle
so-
time.
Oh
So
yeah.
Yaddle. So
Yeah.
yeah, Yoda has like a speech issues.
Confused I am. Many questions I have.
And Yaddle is Bryce Dallas
Bryce
Howard.
Dallas Howard.
I think
Yeah, I love
She
that.
rocked it.
Oh,
I think
God.
Yaddle has the speech impediment. She's not supposed to be talking that way.
She was so eloquent and she was so cute compared to the way she appeared in episode 1.
Yeah.
Oh,
seriously.
yeah.
I know
She's
she
very
They
was.
took a Yoda and slapped some hair on there.
I love that face she has in the background of episode 1 where she's like,
I'm gonna
like
go
she almost
find
looks like she just like woke up. I love that
Maybe
face.
she
I
did.
love
Yeah.
Yaddle.
She might have. Yeah.
I loved everything with Yaddle because I love how she has like the short conversation like with Dooku and with Qui-Gon.
She's so sus about
just
it.
being there. Yeah, she's
Oh yeah. She
immediately
knows.
like she definitely knew from the
That
start, and
explains why
then
she
then
knew
she
too.
admits
Okay.
that she left the council because of that, which is like
Pretty big.
Pretty
Right,
good,
which-
yeah.
Which is a big deal because again, that plays into the fact that they're really dancing around trying not to retcon things because, you know, it's been stated for years that Yaddle left the council after episode 1. She was done, you know, not doing it anymore. And, you know, I was almost worried that they were going to like kill her off and then be like, oh, council seats open up. Oh, this is sad. You know, she's dead. But no, she left and then she got killed. So again, that plays into like, they're trying to keep things as canon kosher as possible. There she is.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, that's her face right before
Lord.
Dooku kills her. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
oh no. She was so cute though in animation.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
absolutely nailed it with like the models. Like she looked so good. I wish she had a
Her
different
face
color
before
lightsaber. Like
Dooku
I wish
kills
she
her.
didn't have green because like
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
I was so heartbroken when when I think it didn't hit me that like the timing of everything. I mean, obviously I could tell like, oh, Phantom Menace because Tatooine, Sith Lord, blah blah blah. But you know, it hit me in the gut when I realized why Dooku was sitting at that tree, telling the story about Qui-Gon, and then
Yeah.
when Yaddle mentions the funeral, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why he's sitting
Yeah.
here. Oh, I'm sad.
he
now.
has his own
intense.
little moment of mourning, and that's kind of also like the fact Qui-Gon dies is like that is almost like Dooku's big like catalyst moment of like I can't do
Yes.
anything with the Jedi anymore. Like
That's what I
I'm
was
done.
thinking too. Yeah. It's like his last
Absolutely
straw.
done. Yeah.
But it's funny because you know he can't do anything with the Jedi anymore because Qui-Gon is dead, his favorite Jedi in the world. But he's questioning, you know, whether or not he can do anything with the Sith because what he did with the Sith killed Qui-Gon. You know, he's
Right, yeah, the way he's
feels
talking to
responsible for
Palpatine.
Qui-Gon's death,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
that hits so.
I think though
hard.
too,
That's so
part of him
different.
blames the Jedi Council though, like how Yaddle said, like because she could sense that
Yeah,
because they
yeah,
didn't listen to
exactly.
them. If they
Yeah.
would have just listened,
yeah.
he probably wouldn't be dead.
This went so in line, and Matt, you're probably thinking the same thing. This went so in line with Attack of the Clones, Dooku, because like all of us that have seen Attack of the Clones, Dooku's like chill in that movie. He's
Oh,
like
yeah.
pretty rational about everything.
He's he really doesn't come across very much as a
in
villain.
Clone Wars,
He's more
he's
of a
pure
chess
evil.
Mm-hmm.
So
pure,
it's like, wait,
pure.
what
dick
happened here? But
in
I think the
Clone
dark
Wars.
side got to him.
yeah, that's true.
We at least like got like the leading up to that as well. So we got like that backstory of why he is in so deep as he is in the Clone Wars. I think that I don't know, to go back to Yaddle, I don't know personally what the Legends deal is with Yaddle, how she goes, but like I always had a feeling that like obviously she was dead at this point in time, and so like how this happens, I was like thrown out of the room in a bad way. How this happened, it was like I knew she was going to die, but how it happened,
Was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, that
oh
was
my
that was
God.
so dark.
No, like
But
this was.
It really was.
This is like up there with like probably one of like the hardest hitting deaths, and we've literally just had this like one episode of something of her ever, but like it was up there with like one of like the worst deaths to like watch.
Yeah, I
that's-
liked the
I can say
parallels
about it.
though, like the parallels with Anakin
Yes.
in
Yeah.
episode 3, like how that all
Yeah.
goes with him and Mace, and then like Dooku and Yaddle. Like it,
Mhm.
it works so well,
Exactly.
and you can see
That's true.
that same transition of someone we love, someone we knew was there for, like wanted to be a true Jedi, but couldn't and was
Yeah.
not allowed to be, and
There
then
was-
turned.
There was
Palpatine does it again. He'll sit back and watch his apprentice fight
That
somebody,
bitch.
and to test them. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very Return of the Jedi as well. As you
Ian
just-
McDermott.
and it
Ian
was
McDermott.
Oh
Luke,
yeah,
very
Luke
snowy.
hiding.
Yeah.
And Liam, just hearing them both again was so wonderful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There
it was
was-
very similar to Luke hiding in Return of the Jedi as well, and like talking to Vader. Well, Yaddle's talking to Dooku there, and then gets found. But
Yeah.
it was a cool duel for what it was, and
Yeah.
then getting slammed in the door.
Oh god.
Oh,
Like, as
I
Jamie
thought
was
that was
saying,
how she went out. I was like,
If
oh my
that's
god.
how she went out, that would have been maybe the most gruesome
I had to
death.
pause the show.
That would've been so
like
dark.
It was rough.
I feel like in watching all Star Wars content, I have not had to pause the show as much as I had to pause Tales of the Jedi. I don't know why, but there were so many moments in this show that I was either laughing my ass off because of Keanu Mooney's hood, or it was absolutely tragic in the case of Yaddle.
Yeah.
I did. I had to pause the show, and then I turned it back on, and then we have this epic moment, and then it's
I loved that.
Oh, that moment and the music and the light.
Yes.
And
it was
Palpatine
just-
shits his pants.
I wanted to
yeah.
cry, and I
It
was
was
like,
so
but I
good.
know. Yeah.
Palpatine was shook. He was
Palpatine
literally
was great
hiding.
in this scene, by the way. Like
He
it
was.
just- I
Ian
love
McDermott
seeing-
comes back to
I love
voice him. It
seeing-
was like, oh, like
Palpatine is always
Pre-burnt.
best in the background, egging
Yeah,
someone on.
pre-burned Palpatine.
pre-burnt butt face Palpatine
pre-butt face
with the cloak
Palpatine.
over. Why was he like? I love they opened
He
the
was
door and he's like
hiding.
the light.
Well,
I
no,
know.
because
Who was
in-
gonna see him?
in that
The
moment,
paparazzi, like
well,
200
in
yards
that
away
moment,
up.
maybe Yaddle would have really made a miraculous recovery, and maybe she would have left. So like I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe she would have
Very good
recognized
point.
him, but who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows?
point.
Too many schemes.
Let me just say, Dooku and fighting little Yoda people, 2 for 2. He's
Yeah.
he's just really good at fighting little green
That
guys.
fencing style
very
just works
true.
really well against him.
Yeah, he'll just keep doing it.
just the
When's
Yeah,
the
you
Dooku
keep him at
Yoda
you keep
fight?
him at bay with the pointy laser sword.
I do wonder like what would have happened if Yaddle had lived, because she was smart. She like could see things. She left the council. Like she.
She would have prevented Order
happened?
66.
What if?
and
Yeah.
saved everybody.
I feel like she
The
would have had
most
such a
Yaddle
big
content.
role in. Yeah.
yeah, she would have been able to actually get, if she did, she would have been able to get through to Dooku somehow. She would have been able to trace down at least what he did during like that day and would have found.
There would have been
lots of stuff.
so much that they would have known.
It's so funny watching stuff like this because we know how it ends, yet I'm there just. And like, there's a piece of my brain where I'm like, oh, like Dooku can be turned here. Like this is gonna end well, right? I mean, that's just
Yeah.
storytelling and how they get you. But like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm an
Keep you
idiot.
in the
Why am I
moment.
falling for this?
No, but it is well told. Definitely.
There were so many shots in this episode alone of half of it was light and half of it was dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Dooku just like walking apart from
Wait,
each other
from the hallway, I
Yep.
noticed that.
That
and
was
then
good.
them
So
having the
good.
conversation again at the end. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Yaddle in the full light, Dooku in facing the light, back to the dark, and Palpatine in like the pitch black. Like that was
Yeah.
very
The
cool.
lighting is so good.
We also, not to bring the music conversation into this, but we got the synths again. Not again, but we got it in animation when Dooku like flies off through Coruscant. It was a little
Yeah.
The dark
sense
side of
in there, and I was
Coruscant.
like, the Kiner brothers don't miss. I was like, come on, yes,
The music
we
did
think?
have some good.
guys.
The Counter Brothers, yeah, they don't miss.
They don't miss. They
Death,
don't miss.
taxes, and the Counter Brothers killing a Star Wars soundtrack.
There
3
you go.
guarantees in life.
3 guarantees in life. You
There you go.
What is this? Obviously, we've seen it in the prequels. Like, what is this dark side of Coruscant? Abandoned meatpacking plant that
That's
Palpatine
it.
like.
That's
I think
exactly
that's
what
all
it
it
is.
is.
Industrial
it has
side.
a name. It has a name, and I can't remember the name of it.
It's the
I've
abandoned
heard Ryan
meatpacking
mention
section.
it. Yeah, I don't
If
know.
only Levi was
all
here,
the
he'd
space
have it in
monsters
3
meat.
minutes.
I know Levi would know. But...
But no, like you could see it like very clearly in this as well, that it is like these like decrepit, crumbling buildings like as well, which
Yeah.
was great. I love how obviously we were going to see it, but we saw the Jedi Temple, like the exterior shots of it, like many times.
Yeah.
In the morning, in the evening, lots of traffic. It's good.
And it's our background
good.
for this episode.
It is our
with all
background,
the
that's
traffic.
Yeah.
There it goes.
On to
Oh,
The-
Ryan said the area is called the Works.
that's it.
Works.
The works.
The works.
The Works.
Yeah.
They,
Industrial
they
district,
gave
so-
it the works.
It's all the nasty fumes.
Very
that go.
original.
The works. On
Hey,
to
it works.
the
It just
next
works.
episode. Unless you guys had any more to say about this one. This one
I'm
was
ready
like,
for Ahsoka.
Or, yeah, anything left
Let's
about
jump.
Dooku? Just go on.
practice makes
let's go.
perfect. This
Yes.
episode was great. Like there wasn't like a ton to it. It's like Ahsoka training the whole time, but it was so good, and it was
But it shows so much.
yeah, it does. It's the
Like-
shortest episode too, I think. but
Yeah.
it shows so much.
It's so
I think its premise and the resolution of like what it means, like why we're telling the story, was like
Mhm.
evident from the moment you see Anakin, Ahsoka, and the clones.
Oh yeah.
But it's still satisfying to see the execution of it throughout. Plus, you got little Caleb Dune just sitting there, just
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
"Oh shit!"
Him
Yeah.
watching.
Big fan. Big
Oh.
Ahsoka fan.
I loved like that entire like audience that they had, because it was just like Ahsoka's like, I don't know, like yearly test or like whatever, until obviously
Very
Mace
karate
Windu and,
dojo
like, Yoda are
flashbacks
there.
to fourth
Yeah.
grade.
Yeah.
Mullet one gonna be
I love how Master Plo was there just like supporting. Like
Oh, of
there
course.
was no reason he
supporting
had to
his
be there.
girl. I
But
love
he
it.
He's
was
got to
there.
be there.
He has to, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'd be
I love-
insulted if he wasn't.
I love how Caleb and Deppa were just sitting there, because Deppa was like, yeah, let's just like go like watch, and Caleb was like, oh my god, like this is so exciting.
It
was
was
Freaking
so
Anakin
cute.
Skywalker.
He was so excited.
Yeah.
I love how it also is just to clearly tell us that yeah, Ahsoka and Caleb like did at least know of each other like a lot, like when they're Jedi, and it's just
Yeah.
like, oh.
I think
Filoni's just like, I did a little sneaky there.
yeah. My favorite
That in there.
part, which I talked to Jamie about earlier, was when the clones are fighting, or doing the stuns, and the first one that stuns her is Jesse.
Don't.
Yeah,
And I was like, you
Sorry.
guys.
you had to do that.
Yeah, he's just like,
Commander.
sorry.
Sorry, Commander. Like
The feels.
I initially laughed because
Oh, I
Rex
did
is
not.
just like, oh, it's Jesse, and then I was like, ah, it's Jesse, and I'm like, oh no, it's
Wait a
Jesse. Like
It's so good.
the entire time that like they go through the first round of all of the clones, like my brain immediately goes to, I'm like, oh my god, what if we're gonna see like Fives or like Echo? Like I thought that would have been cool just to have them in there, but no, we get Jesse.
That was better. That was the best way to do it.
Absolutely
Prepared for that.
love that Rex and Anakin are like, all right, boys, get in a circle and shoot at the person in the middle. And they're like,
The
yes.
tiny child,
Great
you're gonna shoot
idea.
her.
And they were there for like hours because each time she
Yeah.
got shot. So like
She was
I had,
out. Yeah.
I had the
They
head
do-
canon that like Anakin would send Rex and the boys and the gunship over to Dex's diner to get food, bring it back for everyone. Because they were there all night probably.
They
all
had-
day.
Yes, and
Yeah.
Dex's
Yeah,
that's a
donuts,
long
they're
day.
sitting there
Yeah.
looking at Ahsoka just passed out on the ground.
Yeah, like,
Do
what
you think we
was
should have gotten her on?
Just throwing munchkins at her.
What a cool idea
like
for an
trick shots.
episode though. Like
This
Oh,
was
yeah.
the first
Ahsoka
one that he wrote. This was the catalyst for the rest of the series.
really
He
okay.
came up with this
Mm-hmm.
idea. He sat because he was sitting on a plane, I think, and he was thinking, how the hell did Ahsoka survive Order 66? This makes no sense. So he was
She
like,
prepared for it.
well, she prepared for it because she trained with the clones specifically to avoid clone behavior, which is like, all right, great job, Anakin. But yeah, so
You played-
Filoni sat down and wrote this, and then wrote everything else around that one, which is funny because
Yeah.
it's like the shortest one, and it's probably I don't want to say like the least consequential of the ones, but it is definitely like
Mhm.
you know it's pretty low key
Yeah.
compared to like Dooku killing Yaddle or
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah,
a
that's
face
fair.
down against an Inquisitor, or young Qui-Gon
exactly. Yeah.
with his
It's put
pecs.
together so well too. Like, she keeps getting better and better. Classic montage training, and then like you're like, wait a minute, everyone looks different. You're like, oh, it's years later now. They're in their
Yeah, the
phase
cut.
2
Phase
armor
2 armor. And he's got
Yeah.
the lightsabers. Yeah.
on a dreadnought or whatever they were on. And then it changes again, as Chad just kind of mentioned. He had to pause and cry, I guess. But
Oh, I
guess we all
definitely
did.
I had a
cried.
cried.
Like you're like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, this is the Order 66 after Siege of Mandalore, because Ahsoka had
The costume.
the headband
Yeah.
thing on.
Yeah,
and
when you
the ship's
see the
falling
headband, I
apart.
was like, nope,
Oh,
nope,
this is
nope.
No, I don't want to see this.
It's like I'm not ready.
the door closing as the transition. Oh, like
So good. It
I
was
love
it was
that
all
ending.
so well done to show
Yeah.
that.
As we watched like that ending, AJ, the screen goes black and AJ is just like, wow. Like
That
I'm not
was
even
just
kidding.
perfect.
Yeah.
it was
That's
just
what I
so
mean, dude. That was me after every episode. I was blown away. Was not expecting this. Was
Yeah.
not expecting these to
so
be this
good.
good.
So
'Cause it's like you watch something and you're like hoping that this thing's gonna happen next, and they do it this way. This is maybe the way you would do it. Not that I'm anything compared to Dave Filoni, but they ended it, and I was like, oh, that's exactly what I would have had in mind. Like that's
yeah.
perfect.
No, but it works. Yeah.
yeah,
I love how obviously it was going to be super in character for everyone, but I love how super in character each version of them was. And so it's Anakin running late because he's preoccupied, obviously, with Padme, just like doing whatever. And then
Then using
Ahsoka's
this-
like, "Hey, excuse me, you're late." And then they fight, and then they part ways. And then I love how Obi-Wan like dishes it out to Anakin, and then like, oh, Anakin does that later to Ahsoka with the whole "you're late." Oh, I thought I was on time. No.
That's so good. I'm like,
Yeah.
No.
It's
come on,
so
Anakin.
sweet.
What are you
Like,
doing?
it was great, and even like Rex as well. He's all super stiff in phase 1, and then he gets to the next part, and he's just like, hey, and then he's the one that takes the shot, and then at the end, he's just like, it's the siege, and he's just done.
Yeah.
yeah. There was one little shot we didn't talk about, very tiny, that before it transitions to them training out in wherever they were on Coruscant, another abandoned meatpacking plant. It's Obi-Wan and Yoda. I don't think anything is said, but they're just looking at Anakin and Anakin and Ahsoka.
Yeah,
And
because
they didn't say anything, but it's just a
Yeah.
cool shot with the
They
light coming in the
Oh,
window.
the windows. Yeah.
they witnessed that a whole conversation, and they're both looking at each other like, was this a good idea? I don't know. Do you think this was a good idea? Like, I guess it's a good idea.
We got to commit.
Yeah, it's too late now. But yeah, I love the facility that they go to is some Republic barracks on Coruscant. That's something we've never seen before, which is really wild that we've never actually seen that before.
Yeah.
Just some random hangar. Why not?
Why not? It's fine. That was cool though.
Yeah, when Order 66 first happened back in 2005, I mean, we're reliving it over and over and over. So
It's a little rough.
yeah.
It didn't
keep ripping
hit
off that
as
thing,
hard the first time I ever saw it until like now. And so
I like.
Mm-hmm.
I oddly love seeing it every time, though. I think we all secretly do, because it's like, it's such a powerful moment every time, and it's
I mean,
Yeah.
I was loving it in the theaters when I was 10. I was on the edge of my seat with the biggest smile on my face, watching all my favorite Jedi get blown
Holy
away.
crap!
point of
Piatti
all of
Mooney
Star
just got
Wars.
blown the heck up.
No.
there goes his hood.
Oh no, Plo Koon. I'm thinking of Plo Koon.
Yadamundi
Katie
had that
Mooney
hood
got blown
on.
away too.
He did get blown away though. Yeah.
Well, he
Yeah.
did, but he was just more like getting fired on in his back.
The hood
Yeah,
would have saved
Because he
him.
wasn't wearing his hooded robe.
That's true.
If he had his hood on,
Yeah.
he could have jumped off the bridge, and it could have been a parachute.
He could have flied, yeah, like Batman.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh,
No, but killing
man.
him actually does such a huge. That's a huge hit to the population of his species, right? Because isn't he like one of the few people who can help repopulate? So
One of the last male.
Well,
What is he?
There he goes.
it's unfortunate.
sucks.
It's the
Anyhow,
last episode.
resolve.
freaking-
Yeah,
The last.
Did not expect to hear Ashla name dropped like that. That was
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, because
that's,
that was the Ahsoka novel
yeah.
Right.
taking place, and she goes
guess
by
that makes
Ashla in
sense.
that, which
So-
is sad that there is some frustration with the girl that she befriends, who I would assume is supposed to be Kaden from the novel, but is not mentioned and is not the same race.
Yeah,
From the
so
novel?
this
Right.
was this one was vague as hell with the actual
Yeah.
story. So, like, would you say it is an actual like replacement for the Ahsoka novel, or was this something that possibly arguably happened after? or
No,
I mean,
it is.
it's-
It's a
it is-
replacement.
I think
Because-
it's supposed to be a replacement, sadly.
Dave
Because it's
Filoni said in
literally-
an interview that came out today that this story was based on the same notes that he sent E.K. Johnston for Ahsoka. So this is an adaptation
just took
of
his own
the story
kinda-
that he
yeah.
wanted to tell.
Because that
We're-
Inquisitor
we're-
thing happens. Like that's all in the novel.
Yeah.
So we're seeing the
so
fallout
long.
more and more
Oh
of
my God.
Disney's decisions in the early days of the canon
Mm-hmm.
refresh and how that's biting them in the ass now that
Yeah.
they're trying to
Basically,
like
yeah.
actually
Ahsoka-
embrace everything that they were trying to cut off at the time.
The Ahsoka novel is really tragic because it was a story that Dave Filoni had written down, what at some point planned on telling, and then at some point after that realized that it probably wasn't going to be told, gave up on it, passed it along for somebody else to flesh out. And then after Clone Wars season 7, he gets the opportunity to actually tell, the Siege of Mandalore and Ahsoka's, coming to the rebellion. He obviously just adapts it the way he would have.
Yeah.
But the problem is he had already passed these notes on for somebody to write a book. So it's,
It does kind of suck in that sense.
it does. Oh, it absolutely
Yeah.
does. And I feel bad for E.K. Johnston. I feel bad for everybody who read the book, who loved the book. I do think this takes the bare bones, as we keep calling it here at All of Net Marauders, approach where it kind of summarizes the events and it tells them a little differently. But you can get away with, you can read the novel and that's the story. And then maybe like this is like a more truncated summary of what happens, as opposed to it's an adaptation as opposed to what happens in the novel.
It's the same problem we had with Kanan's escape during Order 66, right? And I think it just comes back to the same resolution we had there, where it's like these stories are all legends, these are all myths, and myths and legends can be retold in different ways. And so we're just seeing two different tellings of the same legend of Ahsoka's post Order 66 adventure.
Yeah, I think I do like that. I think the only thing that I've seen, which does make me more not upset because I still love the story, is that was the story with the first canonically queer character in the new canon, and then they put her in this story and don't do anything, and that's what kind of sucks.
Gives a couple of
Don't
looks.
even code her at all.
You don't
She
even
gives
know
a couple of looks
yeah.
to Ahsoka, but that's
Yeah.
not enough, not
And
nearly enough.
Like the story,
I
I'd like
didn't
to
read
see
that at
more of
all.
it. Like just do more of that story. Give us more of her.
So like this story, it covers like 2 or 3 days at most. At most. And we don't hear anyone's names at all. We hear them say Ashla, but like that's it. And so like you could go in so many directions from there. And like you don't even see like all of the people in the town, anyone else that she may have talked to. And it was just like very, very vague. We don't know how long she's been there. It was also kind of funky that it's just like, we're assuming she's been there for like a little while, but they're just inviting her to lunch now, and then this person is already after her. So it seemed very rushed.
With the awful soup.
The awful
We also skipped over a
sit with us.
big part of the episode.
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh, yes.
Padme's funeral. And
Oh,
Dale.
Yeah,
Oh,
great.
God.
That was
Exactly.
intense.
We can skip over that. That's fine.
Yeah.
About it.
So does
I
that
love
happen?
seeing Bale.
Does that happen in the Ahsoka novel?
Oh,
Does
yeah.
Padme go to? I mean, does Ahsoka go to Padme's funeral?
I don't
Hope
believe
Padme
that's in the
went.
novel. I
don't
don't remember.
think
so.
I
Padme
would.
go to her
That's
funeral?
not. Yeah, that's not in the.
I
Novel.
feel like people were complaining
Okay.
about that being a retcon at some point early on when it was revealed she was going to be at Padme's
Yeah.
funeral.
because she's
I don't-
supposed to be somewhere else. I think.
Okay, I think, yeah, she's supposed to be somewhere else. I don't know where.
I think it
but-
makes more sense for her to be there, though.
I
Honestly,
like that she's there.
Like the way she said
Force
it, like she
projection.
was my friend. Like
And Rex waiting by the river in the Y wing.
He was just there the
There
whole
was-
time.
so many feels. So many feels.
Naboo was gorgeous. First of
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
It really was.
it looked so
Always
good.
is.
Yeah, it always does.
They never
but
do bad there. Yeah.
It looked so good. And so like this was like a handful of days after the Siege of Mandalore and all the events, and like Rex and Ahsoka are still together, and Rex is just chilling with the Y-wing in the ravine. Like, oh my god! Just
I jokingly said when Ahsoka and Bale were talking on the little ledge, I was like, "Oh, right about now, the Bad Batch is walking into their dorm room, like sniffing it up, like saying it smells bad or whatever." And then I don't know.
as it's like the
No,
most
but
tragic moment.
Yeah, as it's like a sad scene.
Making like light of it.
Well, I saw the.
Well, yeah, because like that's a good
wrong.
point. Because because Bad Batch is a pretty long time scale from episode 1 to episode 16. So I was
Yeah.
gonna be like, oh yeah, like Rex could have gone right off to go help the Bad Batch in the next episode or whatever. But like, it's probably
There's
not
a
true.
jump, though. I think. Yeah.
coming
Yeah,
up.
there's a jump.
Yeah.
There's
Couple
definitely a
months.
jump.
But
He
still,
has to find that
it's-
poncho somewhere.
Yeah,
True.
He finds it.
it's got to
off
fit
of,
just right.
Keanu
You know how hard it is to find it.
Yeah,
It rapes
Monday
off
I
the
am
armor
normally shaped.
properly.
It's the whole. It's just the hood. He cut some holes in the hood, put it on.
Do you know how when in Last Jedi when Luke becomes one with the Force and his cloak just takes off? If that happened with Keanu Mundi, that would have like created an eclipse or something.
It would have taken forever for the whole thing to just collapse. It would have been
No,
off
no,
screen,
no.
and you just see the robe just
It would
continually.
have gotten caught. The wind would have caught the hood, right?
Oh,
and then
God.
that big net, right, would have just like caught someone else like on the face and just pulled them right off the edge.
Just
That would've
drag
killed
it.
all
Like
the
it just takes one of the
Borgs
clones
on
behind
Hoth.
him and just.
Not the porks.
Oh,
Oh my god. But yeah, that was, and I liked the start of Fulcrum. Seeing
Yeah.
that was really cool.
that was awesome.
Yeah. So the Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the deal
What
with?
was he?
Was he like a Grievous type thing? I know, like not
I
that species, but like
remember.
it seemed like
He
he
was
was.
more like a mask, you know.
Yeah.
I thought
'cause he
so,
kinda-
but-
it just seemed like an entity because like she slices the mask right off,
Oh yeah,
and,
no,
then,
whisks.
and then the hood's just
Wisps. Not whisks.
it just like melts.
Whisks.
Whisks.
Whisk.
Yeah, he was baking some cookies before Ahsoka got
Making
back.
an
Yeah.
omelet.
Oh, he was
Yeah,
the
like-
sixth brother. I texted Ryan.
Okay.
Okay.
Man,
Well,
he's quick on the
regardless, the
response.
hood and the mask just like
He isn't.
melts.
He is and he isn't. We know what the sixth brother looks like. We know who the sixth brother. Jeez,
Bill
Louise.
Valen?
Brother.
His name? Bill Valen.
I don't.
What a name.
I don't know the
That's
sixth
it.
brother's name, but we know what he looks like,
Bill?
and this was not him. And why
Oh,
the hell
yeah.
did he disappear? So many questions. Be right back.
It is a lot. Yeah.
Bill Valen, yeah.
Huh?
That's his name.
Ryan said
Bill?
it sounds like a junior high football coach.
It
I don't know.
does,
Yeah, I don't know who I'm more annoyed by, Bill or Ham in Andor.
I was just
We'll
gonna say
talk
not
about
to
that
be
tomorrow.
derailed, but there's
That's
a guy
tomorrow
named
nights.
Ham.
That's a
Yes.
teaser for tomorrow.
Yes.
Ham? Excuse me. Can you say that again?
I haven't
Ham.
even watched this yet, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
His species
Um,
is unknown
The
apparently.
rum him.
Yeah, because
So
But-
yeah, I don't know what that
That's
is.
his first name.
does his species
called
become
by
one with the
surname.
force when it's killed, and he just like just disappears?
So-
He whisks off.
He
What does the
whisks
sixth
off.
brother appear in? A comic?
A comic.
Well,
yeah.
he's in the Ahsoka novel.
Right.
He's in these tokens.
So-
He's in something else too.
He's in some
because we have
Vader
a picture
comics,
of
it
him.
looks like.
We have a picture of him.
Yeah, he was in one of the comics, I'm assuming. I'm just
He's
like
like
Yeah,
a
trying
Darth
to
physical
Vader-
copy of him or something.
The Vader
Does he
comics.
ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because he wouldn't be able to burn everything down.
Vader, Lord of the Sith, runs six.
His name is
to
Bill.
six-
His name is with one L.
With one L.
Yep. Just so,
yeah,
so
he
it's,
appears in a
it's
few comics.
exotic enough.
And I thought
said
Bell
that-
Iblis was a bad name.
He said that Kate actually did create him, and then, or E.K. Johnson, sorry.
Oh, okay. They
Yeah,
took off
no.
one L. That's totally Star Wars.
Why would
That's how it
why
works.
would they undo things? Like I
Why
know
did they
you were
change
just
his
saying
look so much?
well, I know you were just
Why
saying the bare
not?
bones thing, but
Why
like
not?
Did they specify what Inquisitor it was in the book?
Yeah,
It was
Yeah.
they
six.
said it was the sixth. It was the sixth brother
Yeah,
was
they said it
created
was-
for the Ahsoka novel, and then they transferred him over to because
Oh,
the
But a
Darth
whole
Vader run
different
doesn't
look.
happen until 2017.
he looks cool in the book too. I mean, he kind of
Yeah, it's
has
a
the
whole
same
different
look,
look.
other than the head. I mean, the cape looks the same, but that's every Inquisitor.
I mean, they all look from the neck
Yeah.
down. They're all very similar.
From the
It is-
boots
it is
down, he
weird,
looks the
though.
same.
I guess he could have chosen a new mask. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I
He
was
has
kind
a
of hoping
cybernetic left arm.
that
Huh.
like I hope that somehow we get more information about like the Inquisitorius with the whole how the different Inquisitors became Inquisitors, because like we have like in Fallen Order like Trilla's story
Riva.
and
her
Reva's story
story.
now. Both are pretty much like Padawans left for better or worse dead.
We have the Grand Inquisitors. Kind
Yeah.
The
of.
Grand
Kind
Inquisitor's
of.
sort of.
Still,
I mean,
missed
he's already the Grand
opportunity.
Inquisitor by the
He
time.
really should have been the one
he
to
appears in
pick
the
up
comic.
Riva.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I
let's
really
like
wish
yeah,
I
like
had
I
that
wish
scene.
that we got more on this one because I'm fascinated by like what happened there with his face and the mask just like
Mhm.
existing
What the
there. Like,
Yeah,
hell
it's so
was that?
interesting.
Why did
Was
they make
it
that
some sort of, like,
decision?
was it some sort of like Sith relic? That's the only thing I can like wrap my head around.
It
Like, I
kinda
need
looks
to
like
know.
those,
Like,
yeah.
It just
I
like
don't
makes
know.
you think
I
of
have
like
no idea.
like
Darth
the whole
Momin.
half
I've
the
never seen
point of,
anything
like
like
Shadow
it.
of the Sith is like the point
Yeah.
of
Momin,
like that
yep.
mask is like
Yeah.
possessing people, and I'm just like
Or
I was gonna say
Exo-
I have a thing of
what's
one of
it?
those masks. I don't know where it is though.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ahsoka was
Weird.
badass
If any-
taking him out though.
Yeah.
Oh
if
my gosh.
anything-
looks
Oh
so
my god,
cool.
so quick.
That was awesome.
Grabs the lightsaber out of his hands and kills him with it. All right,
Yeah, like
That was
Great job.
So well
brother.
done. So well done.
I know that like they wanted to tell this story, but if anything, this was like arguably the weakest story because
Well,
it just
especially
opened up so
because-
many questions.
They
Yeah.
undid
Yeah.
a story to make this story, whereas
With
I feel they
less
could have just
depth.
let it
And-
be or done something
yeah.
else. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why Dave felt this was so
I think
needed
the
to be told when it was
only-
already told.
The only important
Yeah.
part that I thought was there was the very end when she contacts Bale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the only part that I was like, oh, cool, we get to see that now. Like the
Well, I
rest
think-
was like, cool, but
You know, because
Yeah.
these arcs are supposed to mirror each other. So we have, you know, Ahsoka.
It's like poetry
As a
and
ch-
rhymes.
Yeah, exactly.
it's,
But the
yeah.
point, you know, he had two acts in Ahsoka's journey, but the third act, just like we get, you know, Dooku's resolve as a Sith in his final episode, I guess you
Yeah.
had to have Ahsoka's resolve to join the rebellion in this one. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of is it's a good cap to her arc in this show. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I
why
just feel
they
they
way
could have
they-
done it differently.
Yeah,
Dude.
the
I
way
did
they went about
enjoy-
it was not great.
While it was short and sweet, I enjoyed the parallel between choreography wise between Ahsoka and this Inquisitor facing off, and when Vader and Reva face off, because like
Great
they had the
point.
same like
Yeah, I'm dodging.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, I got to run because
Yeah.
the janitors. They just ended the meeting. I'm all set. The
jeez.
janitors are going to come in and clean soon, so I'm heading out.
All right. See you,
Bye-bye.
Matt.
Bye, Matt.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. But yeah, it is just so weird, as we were saying. Like, why didn't they go a different direction? I don't know what they could have done. I don't know.
I
like-
mean, I feel like you could have done like the lead up to the story instead. They could have like done
Yeah.
that like easily because, and that would have left the story like the same as before of
or
we
why
have,
didn't they
like, the
just
funeral.
adapt the
We have
story
the-
that was already made? They don't usually do that, but
Well, I think that's what they tried to do, but the problem
They
is
didn't.
Do well.
the format of this show is 16-minute episodes, including credits. So
I mean,
time wise, they kind of pigeonholed themselves into this
Yeah.
format that forced the story to be shallow by its nature.
Yeah, but you could have dropped in like a name. You could have dropped.
You could have
in,
had the
"Oh,
other
you've
girl
been
be the girl
here,
from the
I don't know,
book."
5
mhm.
months.
like made it more
um,
clear.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear
Like-
you. Yeah, the writing itself and those beat to beats could have been a little
Because
bit more
they
direct.
they did the same, I think, for season 7 with the arcs where it was what EK was given, but they still changed things from what they gave her. So then the stories weren't the same exactly. Like how
Yeah.
because Ahsoka was supposed to, like, in the novel, she leaves her sabers and buries them, I think, at Jesse's grave specifically. Although I don't think that was in the book. That was spoiled later on. But it was supposed to be that. And then they changed that, and it was supposed to be so, like, they made it look like Rex's grave, and they didn't do any of that. Like,
But that's the problem,
weird.
right? Like they thought that they could just wipe everything out except for what was established in Clone Wars and the main movies and just start fresh, but realizing later that no, just give people what they want and they'll be much more satisfied and then you'll get better storytelling out of it. But because they already tried to have their cake and eat it, we have this
Yeah.
awkward
they
situation.
did it to
Yeah.
themselves.
yeah.
When did the Ahsoka
You,
novel
you
come
have
out?
done this yourself.
2017?
I was going to say, I think 17,
Okay.
2017.
Because the Kanan comic, which is, the other retconny thing, was like,
Oh.
what, 2015, 2016?
Yeah, that was earlier.
Yeah.
Because I feel like anything from 2015-ish, like early Disney acquisition, acquisition, not accusation.
Accusation.
I feel like they're kind of like, that we didn't know what we were doing yet, like whatever. But 2017, I mean, that's
It's recent enough.
a handful
like,
of years ago, not
Yeah.
I
And
would
it's
say
a story
there
that,
was-
does, like, it still sells out places. Like,
Yeah.
that book is still selling.
Yeah, it's a very popular book.
Yeah.
I would say until The Mandalorian, there was a clear lack of direction in the way Disney handled Star Wars. And while I
Yeah.
think we got a lot of great stories out of it, I personally I for the most part enjoy what we got. And in that time frame, but it's clear that there was a lot of lack of focus, and this is the direct result of it. And yeah. It's
Right.
unfortunate. It left us in this position where we have to go, wait, but we're really invested in this. And now you've told us that we don't need to be invested in this because we can just have this cookie cutter version of it instead.
Yeah.
But-
so like from like a different like a I guess like perspective from like someone who like hasn't read the book or hasn't read it in a very long time. Honestly, like this last episode, this last story, it pains me to say it, but I really didn't feel anything. It didn't really add anything. And like I read the Ahsoka book like when it came out, but I don't remember a damn thing about it.
Well,
That's
I
just
didn't
because
read it
I've
myself.
Which
read,
is-
I've
but you-
consumed so much
right.
like since.
I don't think
that's
it
a
just
bad
hasn't
thing.
stuck.
Yeah.
with the post Revenge of the Sith part, maybe you didn't. I agree with you. I didn't really feel anything, but with the Naboo part with Padme and
Yeah.
Bail, and
Right.
that was
Yeah.
great. That was a
That
great.
part
That
That
was
was
good.
good.
Yeah.
And
But I
that
agree,
let
yeah.
the square off with the Inquisitor was great, but yeah,
Yeah.
everything else was pretty paint by numbers as far
Yeah.
as
Mhm.
the beats of like a Jedi hiding out in like it was pretty literally what happened to Cal. You know, it's literally the same
Yeah.
thing that happened to Cal.
Yeah, and like I think it also it didn't help obviously that like this was like the last episode. So like if you watch like a string of these, you get to the end and it's just like, oh, this is like the last one, and you're just kind of like in like different
Yeah.
states of consciousness, like watching this, like and so like that also like happens.
It's
I don't know.
it's weird.
It's tough. Yeah.
But it was so cool to get more Clone Wars content. Like
Oh my God,
especially
yeah.
the Ahsoka part was definitely Clone Wars content. And
Yeah.
then seeing
Yeah.
Dooku as a Jedi, like that was a huge bonus. So
Yeah.
obviously
Very
this-
happy we got it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
this Tales of, as we're being down right now it seems, but like for the first
Which is-
hour of this stream we were very positive.
1 out of
It
6.
was. It was
not
great.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I rewatch it, the last
Oh,
one
of
too.
course, yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's probably not my favorite, even though it's Ahsoka, which is hard to say. But yeah, I feel like they could have done it like they started with the Ahsoka episode and then switched. They should have just done the 3 Ahsokas and then the 3 Dookus and ended on that powerful note.
Yeah.
They really
I
wanted
think
to
that
have
was
the chronological nature to it, I guess.
Yeah. Which
And,
I
like,
can
that's
get,
the only-
but
I agree though. I think it felt disjointed having Ahsoka's and like even though that's
Mhm.
why they wanted to, I feel it would have been better because you're telling 3 episodes per Jedi.
Mhm.
Just stick them together so we can
Was
see
it
the
all
arc a little
chronological
clearer.
order?
Yeah,
Was
yeah, because
Ahsoka-
Ahsoka was.
Dooku,
Baby
Dooku,
Ahsoka.
Dooku, Ahsoka.
Well, no, but
I think
Could've
Baby
been.
Ahsoka would predate. Wouldn't it?
well, no, because I think that would be
Maybe-
earlier, wouldn't it?
Well, maybe
According to
Qui-Gon and-
Matt's math.
Maybe
So
Qui-Gon
no,
and Mace.
what probably
and,
it would have been
maybe our mathism
was
was good.
first Dooku episode, then maybe also the second Dooku.
Yeah, because Ahsoka wouldn't
And
be
then Ahsoka.
alive yet.
Well,
yeah.
maybe because it would have made less sense to put the Ahsoka episode second,
I
and
think
because
it's
like her
just-
birth, it's like
Yeah,
okay, thematically
3
it's good for a
episodes
first
in.
episode.
You get Dooku thinking about things, and all of a sudden you go to the Baby Ahsoka episode, and it's like, wait. So yeah, that makes sense.
I still would have preferred having.
I feel like it might
Dooku
also
than
be
Ahsoka.
Dave just being Dave and like Ahsoka's the best thing in the world and start with her and end with her.
Yeah.
And like I agree, she's amazing.
checks out.
But there comes a time where like you could have just done this differently.
Sure.
And it was a good one to show at Celebration, so maybe that's why
It
we did
was probably
It was a safe
that was
play,
the best
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so-
But yeah.
it
Yeah.
was
Imagine
Tales of the
showing the
Jedi.
Yaddle one and just like break everyone's hearts real quick.
That would also
Yeah.
look really good.
He did.
but-
He did warn us at Celebration. He's like, the other ones are much darker. That's why we're starting with this.
Oh yeah.
So he told us. I forgot.
I really hope we get more from this
Mhm.
series eventually, and following other Jedi Tales of Jedi.
I hope it's not a one-time thing for sure.
I don't think it would be. It's just as we were saying earlier, it'd be weird to name something Tales of the Jedi
and then
and
talk
only
about
cover
two.
Dooku and Ahsoka. I don't know.
Yeah, I
you
hope
never
that
know.
they either dive into post sequels or
Mhm.
Luke's Academy
Post sequels.
or High Republic.
Yeah.
High
those are my
Republic
three.
would be so
Or-
My
good.
three.
Oh.
Republic.
Oh,
I would be a fan of Old Republic.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I
Like
think
if they literally did an episode on Exar Kun or something, I would freak out.
I think that would
I'd be
like,
down. I'd be
wicked
Yeah.
jarring if they did just like drop us into the Old Republic because a lot of people don't
couldn't do that in
know
10
anything
minutes,
about
no.
it. They would just be like, here we are.
There's a lot to happen.
A man
yeah.
can dream.
One day. One
One
day.
day,
Well,
One day Bastila will be canon.
right?
yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
In my mind,
Maybe.
Sherry
Hey,
is.
with the
I mean,
new
why
game,
not?
if they can get that remake out the door, hopefully.
In 10 years.
Right.
Uh,
Just keep waiting.
Let us
Oh.
think about that soup. Maybe it'll be
the
better
soup was awful.
next time.
That's you're leaving us with a bad taste in our mouth. at the end?
Awful.
Oh
yes.
no.
Um,
No.
There it is.
There she is.
That's Yaddle.
Oh my
queen.
Soup.
Wow. Right. Very cool.
Eh.
Jack, you know what else? You know what other Jedi they could talk about?
Excuse me,
Yes.
that's not a Jedi. I don't see a Jedi. I just
Oh,
see
yeah,
a guy
you're right,
with a
you're right.
lightsaber and a couple of questions.
Couple of
I'd like to see him. A couple of
He,
questions.
he
what
does
it
become a
is.
Jedi Master later. Fair enough. Like, to be fair.
He's got some
He's a
time.
Jedi
All
Order.
right, and on Kyle Katarn Watch, we have we're out of time.
You baited me. You baited me. That's not fair.
I had to. We didn't get to talk about him much.
Oh,
That's
Thank you
tomorrow.
all so much for
Tomorrow.
hanging out in the
I
chat.
have some thoughts tomorrow.
Thank you, Becca and Jack, for coming on this week.
yay.
We'll be
Yeah.
back tomorrow, actually, to talk about Andor, because that also came out today. We'll talk all things ham, all things Melchi.
Melcher!
We'll be back
Melchi.
tomorrow.
And
See you
Zol.
next time on the Holland Marauders.
And Andy Serkis.
Yeah.